Hello, it's a pleasure to greet you. My name is Carlos Pacheco, and on behalf of my team, composed by Christian Maza and David Serrada, I want to welcome you to this presentation on Agile development. We will be talking about the most important topics that cover this field. Anything else to say? Let's get started. We use the term Agile to refer to the set of practice and methods based on the values and principles contained in the Agile Manifesto. The manifesto emerged in 2001. The first version of its practice and methods evolved from the 90s, known as light development methodologies, and we are a reaction to methodologies such as rigid cascade development. Agile software development focus on keeping the code simple, continuous testing, and short functional release of the application as soon as they are ready. Solutions are transformed into collaboration between self-organizing and cross-functional teams using the right practice for each of their tasks. One of the most common terms for these methodologies is framework, which we call a digital infrastructure. It's a defined, conceptual, and technological support structure, usually with a specific software artifacts or module, which can serve as a base for the organization and development of software. It helps us to use framework, avoid writing repetitive code. Most projects have a common part necessary for operation, such as database access, form validation, or security. A framework avoids us having to program these parts, so it's easier for us to focus on programming the application. Use good practice. The framework are based on development patterns, usually MVC, model view controller, that help separate data and business logic from the user interface. Come on, thanks to, thanks to them, we have everything more ordered, allowing you to do things that you will not do. It's clear that a framework will always allow you to do things in an easy and safe way that for you will be impossible or at least will cost you a lot of time to use them. Faster development. If we take into account the previous points, we will know that developing an application with a framework allows us to do it faster, cleaner, and safer.
Hi, my name is David and I will talk about the Scale Agile framework. In big companies with more than 250 employees, as well as companies that require thousands of software developers, they use a structure called the Scale Agile framework, which is a work system that copies the framework process that have been effective in other departments already employed. In this way, other departments can achieve or can repeat the, the experience and the successes that other departments had in their own department and in their own processes as well. It could also imply an evolution of the framework because this framework is very flexible. So you can optimize it even more and achieve a more effective results. Okay. This method of multiplication of the procedures called SAFe, the Scale Agile Framework, is also conceived under the principles of Lean and Agile. These principles are fundamental and basic to drive the roles and practices that make the software, the scale agile framework effective. Now, you may wonder how we can apply this to a competitive and real environment uh, under the agile methodologies. Well, we can give you some recommendations that should be considered. And these are the first one is it is imperative for the active participation of the users. This means that the users should be involved in the development cycle. The second, the development team must have the power to make decisions. The decisions don't rely on the management board. The requirements evolve, but the time, scale, and deadlines are established. This means that the requirements can change, but the time and the deadline should be absolute. Capture the requirements at a high level, light and visual. This means that you should picture the requirements in a mm, in a way at a high level, and also make prototypes to know how it will be the final product. Develop small incremental versions and iterate on them. This means that you should not make a big piece of software. You should only make a small feature and make it better over time. Focus on frequent delivery of products. This means that you should, you know, be in content delivery of features, functionalities, fixes, etc. Complete each functionality before moving on the next one. This means that you should finish all the tests, all the coding, all the things that the feature needs to be done before moving on to the next one. Apply the 80-20 rule. Work on core functionality. This means that the 20% of the important functionality is in the core. Okay, you should then add something to make it cleaner, better, and better. Testing is integrated into the entire project life cycle. Testing early and often. This means that you should always test your software. All the code that you have been making, you should test it before make it to production. And the last one is a collaborative and cooperative approach among all stakeholders is essential. This means that you should involve also not only the users but the stakeholders to make this process better.
Very well. I introduce myself. My name is Christian Maza, and let's talk now about some of Agile methodologies. Let's begin with the next question. What are the types of Agile methodologies most used in today companies? First of all, there are different options, but the three most used are Stream Programming, XP, Scrum, and Kanban. All of them are guided by a pattern established by the Agile Manifesto, made by several authors who established the 12 principles of Agile software. Let's begin with the first one. We got Stream Programming, XP. This tool is very useful, especially for startups or companies that are in the process of consolidation, since its main objective is to help in the relationships between employees and customers. The key to the success of stream programming is to improve personal relationships through teamwork, encourage communication, and finally eliminating downtime. Its main phases are: first, planning the project with the client; second, project design; third, coding, where programmers work in pairs to obtain more efficient and quality results; and finally, test to check that the code being implemented works correctly. Next, we got Scrum. Scrum is characterized by being the chaos methodology based on an incremental development structure. That is, any product or service development cycle is broken into small projects divided into different stages, which are analysis, development, and testing. In the development stage, we found what is known as a process interaction or a sprint, that is, regular and partial deliveries of the final product. This methodology allows us to deal with the complex projects that requires flexibility and essential speed when executing the result. The strategy will be oriented to manage and standardize the errors that may occur in too long developments through frequent meetings to ensure compliance with the established objectives. Finally, we got Kanban. Currently, the term Kanban has become part of the so-called Agile methodologies, whose objective is to generally manage how tasks are completed. Kanban is a Japanese word to mean visual cards, where kan is visual and ban correspond to card. The main advantage of this methodology is that it's very easy to use, update, and manage by the team. In addition, it stands out for being a very visual task management technique, which allows to see at a glance the state of the projects, as well as to guide the development of the work in an effective way. In the name of my team, thank you so much for your attention. We see you in the next one. Bye bye.